Hey friends, Anne here, and I am so excited to take this moment to talk to you about a new challenge that we have going on in digital discipleship and the chapel online. So, since the beginning of 2023, we have repeatedly been asking you this question in all of our messages every single week. We've been ending with this question: who's your one? And we've been working through this process of helping you prayerfully discern who is the one person that God is calling you to invest in. Who's the one person that God has put in your life to begin to help you make a disciple of Jesus Christ. Each of us are disciples, but not just so that we can get really, really smart and closer to God, but so that we can begin to disciple other people. And I hope that God has begun to put that one person on your heart and your mind today. But over the last couple of weeks, we have added to that. And we've actually added a next step for this process of discerning who your one is. So once you have this one person in mind, what do? How do you start that conversation? How do you begin to move forward in your relationship with that person as a disciple who is discipling someone else? Well, that's where 6-2 Qs come in. And in this 6-2 challenge, what we're talking about are 6 questions and 2 people. So you and your one sitting down or having a phone conversation or even texting over Messenger or Zoom, whatever that looks like for you. And what the 6-2 stands for, it comes from Galatians chapter 6 verse 2, which says this: bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. That's what we are trying to get you to do, to be able to be in a relationship, in a discipling relationship, where you are bearing one another's burdens. I think sometimes we make the mistake of thinking discipleship is just learning a lot of stuff. And discipleship is a relationship. It's a relationship where 2 people come together and they begin to share about their faith in a way that allows them to bear each other's burdens. And what is the law of Christ? Well, that is to love God and to love other people. And these 6-2 Qs are going to help you do just that. So what are the questions? Here they are. Number 1, what did you hear from God this week? So there's an expectation there that you've actually had conversations with God this week, that you're reading in the Bible, that you're listening, that you're praying. And so we want to give you the opportunity to share that. Number 2, how did you respond? How did you respond to what God said? Did you say, yes, here I am, send me? Or did you say, God, I'm not sure that I'm ready for that? Or how did you respond to that? Be very honest in that. Number 3, what brought you joy this week? What was it about your week where you were just filled with this sense of joy that only God can give you? What is it that brought you joy? Even on the worst weeks, we can find things that bring us joy. What was a struggle for you this week? So what was an area that you struggled with? Maybe personally, maybe professionally, maybe in your spiritual walk, whatever that looks like. What was a struggle? Number 5, how have you loved others? How have you spent time showing God's love to others this week? Have you listened to them? Have you been generous with them? Have you spent time with them? What does that look like? And the last one, how can I pray for you? One of the most important things that we can do as disciples who disciple other people, as friends who are bearing each other's burdens, is to pray for one another. So you might be saying, well, the one that God has put on my heart isn't ready for all of that. That's fine. You don't even have to go over all 6 questions. I mean, the 6-2 Qs are just there to give you a starting place of where to begin this relationship. So maybe you only start with 1 question a week if that's where your one is. So maybe you start with, hey, how can I pray for you this week? Or maybe you start with, what brought you joy? Or what was a struggle? Maybe you start with 2 questions. So you choose which of these questions is appropriate for your relationship with the one that God has been prompting you to disciple, and start there. And then over a course of the next several months, you can work up to all 6 questions as you grow in your relationship and as each of you increase your relationship and your love for each other and for God. So friends, I hope that these 6-2 Qs will be a way that you can invest in your friends, that you can invest in that one that God has put on your heart to develop that relationship with. And over the next several months, we're going to continue to talk about these 6-2 Qs. Every single week after our worship service, we're going to post these questions as a reminder. So jump on in anytime you're ready, anytime you feel like God has given you that one person to invest in. Go ahead and start with one of these questions and watch how that will help you live that Galatians 6:2 life where we are bearing each other's burdens and fulfilling the law of Christ.